In addition to the fact we've been doing all this equalities monitoring for years, and yet somehow we definitely haven't cracked it, haven't we? Haven't got it right, and we have turned it into, we've heard it many times today, everybody's seeing it as a tick box exercise, and we present it in the most boring and terrible and, you know, uninteresting ways very often for people, that kind of switches off any chance that we're going to do something that's human and beneficial to people. So we've been looking at different ways of doing that, and Dragon Cafe has been involved in the Biz Community Learning mental health pilots, and have been helping Morley in particular to kind of look at how to do that. So we're really grateful. So Vivian ran a kind of mini experiment this time. I'm going to let her tell you about that. We've also got a little video clip of how you got from A to B, really. Can we give you 10 minutes? That's lovely. Thank you.
So as Katina said, my name is Vivian Ellis, and I work at the Dragon Cafe running sessions on singing and exploring the ways in which singing and the other art forms can be beneficial to us. And I started exploring this in 2013 as somebody who experiences mental health problems myself, finding that taking part in creative groups and singing improves my mood and my mental health very rapidly in the context of the Dragon Cafe, which is offering people every Monday in the Church of St George's opposite Borough Station opportunities to engage in creative activities in a relaxed social setting, which are completely inclusive and free. And I wanted to articulate how and if other people like myself experience this rapid improvement in mood. I'm not a scientist, but I thought that if I could create a simple mood scale of 1 to 5, where 1 indicates a low mood and 5 a better mood, I could over a period of time perhaps chart any impact by taking these data before and after groups. And I found that mood did rapidly improve. And that finding led to me being invited to work at Imperial College with a group of trainee GPs to create a new course to train GPs how to prescribe the arts. And so I found that what I'd created was a mood scale, but also a key to unlock mindset, which was very interesting. And then 3 years later, last year, I was invited by Sarah Wheeler, the founder of the Dragon Cafe, to lead a project at Morley College to set up 10 pop-up creative cafes based on the Dragon Cafe model, to see if the Dragon Cafe's learning and experience could be recreated in another setting, to explore what we're doing at the Dragon Cafe and how can it work. And so I did this, and I decided to carry on with this idea of the mood scale. And I found, in my research with doctors, I found something called the Manchester Colour Wheel, which is a new diagnostic tool developed by a team from the University of Manchester, led by Professor Peter Warwell, who's a consultant gastroenterologist specialising particularly in the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome. In fact, he's probably one of the world's experts on irritable bowel syndrome. And in order to assess how his patients can most benefit from a new treatment he's developed, which is using hypnotherapy and visualization, where he found that those patients who can visualize are most able to benefit from this treatment. He developed, with a colleague, Dr. Helen Carruthers, a medical artist, he developed a colour wheel as a tool. And they found some very interesting results. They found statistical significance in the colours which cohorts of healthy, depressed and anxious people choose as their mood colour, their colour they're drawn to, and their favourite colour. And he posited in 2 research studies that this tool would be useful in situations where you wanted to present results and understand them without using words. So I used this tool at Morley College to see what happens over a course of the trial, to see if participants, patrons in these cafes, mood was improved. So I took the data from, I collected data from eight of the 10 cafes, so a total of 160 patrons. I invited them to choose their mood colour intuitively before and after participating in relaxed groups in a social setting, to see if mood was improved according to the findings of the Manchester Colour Wheel, which showed that the choice, irrespective of shade, the choice of brighter colours and warmer colours indicates an improvement in mood. So I'm now going to show you the results of this. Mood data was rendered into a visual graphic by designer Saba Khan, and she's going to explain in this video how she took the data and how she created these faces.
So that was your before from yesterday?
That was before,
and
okay.
Then you do the after, and then the film. That
Yeah, okay,
might...
so this is, I've never used this before, so...
Just click the arrow.
Okay, so this, yesterday we recreated the situation of the Dragon Cafe at Morley College, and we engaged as a social group of people who've never met each other in a relaxed setting. I've tried to recreate that by using colours, by using flowers, by making tables where people sat round rather than in serried rows here. I invited people down here, and we took part in visual arts. We made these hands. People drew around each other's hands. They brought to mind things that were peaceful, joyful or funny, told each other jokes. We sang a song involving movement, and John David did some Zumba and soulful line dance with the group. And we all had a good time, and we chose our mood colours before and after these activities. This was the before. That's the Manchester Colour Wheel with its range of 38 colours. And this is after. And these are the faces. These are the faces of the Festival of Identities before and after engaging in these activities, showing that mood was indeed improved. So I'm going to show the video now of the Morley College results.
We are the Dragon Cafe. The Dragon Cafe is an inclusive, creative environment for everyone. Its unique quality is that it is user-led by those who have had lived experience of mental ill health. The focus of the cafe is to provide creative activities and a safe environment which supports individuals on their journey to improve their well-being through creativity and connectivity. We pride ourselves on being a creative, welcoming and high-quality community place where all can feel at home. Every Monday, we offer a relaxing pop-up cafe and imaginative space in the crypt of St George's Church in Borough. We provide a simple, affordable, healthy menu each week and a wide range of creative and well-being activities which are free and open for all. The cafe opened in 2012 and has welcomed more than 6,000 patrons. We are keen to explore new evaluation methods to show how projects like the Dragon Cafe can benefit people. Morley College invited us to run a trial of the Dragon Cafe in their refectory. This was the first trial of our cafe in a new setting. People danced, sang, told stories and did visual art in a relaxed social space. This community learning mental health pilot project in the London Borough of Southwark was part of Connect and Discover, a new partnership between Morley College, local voluntary organisations like the Dragon Cafe and the NHS services. Connect and Discover aims to support mental health through learning for well-being with a range of free short courses. We asked 160 patrons in 8 Morley pop-up cafes to intuitively choose their mood colour before and after joining creative groups. We are using a new diagnostic tool called the Manchester Colour Wheel, which can record changes in the mood of individuals and groups. It was developed by Professor Peter Warwell and Dr. Helen Carruthers, who are part of a research group based at the University of Manchester. We'll show you how we make a graphic image of faces from colours chosen by cafe patrons before and after taking part in creative activities in a relaxed social space. The faces show that these activities can have a beneficial impact on mood. Step 1. The before and after data from the workshop is collated in a spreadsheet. Each number on the spreadsheet corresponds to one of a total of 38 colours on the Manchester colour wheel. Step 2. Once we have the data, we then look to represent the results in a more visual infographic. We take a square grid and fill it with each entry. This is done for both before and after sets of results. These two grids will now form the basis for the 3D image. Step 3. We take the flat 2D graphic and move into a 3D modelling software. Here is a plain busk. We bring in the square grid and set the plane to the correct view. Once we have the correct angle, this is then rendered out. This process is repeated for both before and after sets of results. This is how the before and after data is taken to create a visual representation of the collective mood. Improvements in mood are shown by the choice of lighter, warmer colours. The two faces show that taking part in creative groups in a relaxed social setting improves the mood of visitors to the Dragon Cafe at Moy College. And just to remind you, the Dragon Cafe runs every Monday in the crypt of St George the Martyr Church on Borough High Street, SE1 1JA, opposite Borough Tube Station. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. Anybody got any questions for Vivian or comments? Okay. That's great, thank you very much indeed, Vivian. Oh, question?
More of a statement. I just want to say I absolutely love that, and my head's already whirring thinking about how it might relate to maths anxiety, because we've got another project on the go, so I'll try and get in touch with you.
And as you're in Manchester, you
and
might
I'm in
want
Manchester,
to get in touch with,
so yeah.
Yeah, so you know that might be a really good thing to
really
talk to Professor Warwell. Yeah, he's got an academic post, so you're at the same university, so.
And of course, anything that's creative and movement and arts is right up my street. So thank you.
Thank you.
So keep us posted as well if that progresses. That would be really good. Thank you very much indeed, Vivian. Is these your glasses?
Yeah.
Otherwise I might sit on them. Okay. So I just want to kind of wrap things up really. We've had 2 really exciting days here at CityLit, and it's been kind of really, a really great time. In addition to the kind of feedback from Vivian, we've got some feedback shortly from Carol and Eli, but I'm going to make that the very last thing that we go out to. So really what it remains for me to do is to just make a few kind of concluding remarks really. And I think I want to say that yesterday Catherine talked to us in the morning about how the way in which we solve problems so very often is by thinking about how we solved it last time or the last problem we dealt with, and we look in the rear view mirror all the time. And any of you who are drivers or cyclists or even walkers, I think that if you're always looking in the rear view, you're going to bash into a few things, have a few accidents, or a great big disaster is going to come your way. So I think it is about remembering around equality and diversity that what we want to do is to look through that front windscreen, is to kind of keep looking ahead. And we're designed that way. We don't even have the rabbit eyes that enable us to look all the way around here. We are designed to look forward and to use our skills and talents to do that. And for some reason, we don't do that with equality and diversity. For some reason, we get stuck in really bad places. One of the things that was the most profound for me this morning was Dr. Oberon Marinette talking about how people are suffering, and I think actually Oz said that yesterday in terms of the health service and, the fact that as data comes out, it says this group of people need this treatment and this group need this treatment, and yet nobody knows really what those groups are or the way they're defined. And actually, I thought it was really palpable that Oz himself was suffering and hurt and felt disrespected by the fact that we still use those labels, black and white, and talk about people in terms of their skin colour rather than their heritage. So I think it's that. And that was also true in terms of what we heard about Pride and Prejudice. We heard about learners, which seems to be the dominant place that we put equality and diversity as opposed to evenly. We heard about learners who were afraid, who saw and experienced bullying and harassment, or who saw other people experience it and didn't report it, didn't do something about it. We've made it through our recommendations into government reports that say our sector needs to change things and do things differently, and that our sector sometimes doesn't serve learners as well around equalities as other education sectors even. And then this morning we heard from business, which currently in terms of policy is kind of where we seem predominantly to say the education we provide is about, in terms of the apprenticeship target that we heard people talking about this morning, in terms of the kind of goals of industry. So much was about, what business wants and how we get people into jobs and how we sustain people in jobs and how we take people from what are perceived as dependency cultures or benefit cultures into employment. And we heard that equality and diversity was central to that. And we heard that from organisations that most people would think were fairly kind of straight, in all honesty. So I think that's the key message that has come from this particular event. Now, I am desperately worried by the people who didn't come. I'm hoping they've been watching the live stream. I'm hoping that they may watch the recordings afterwards. And I hope that you will help to share that to happen. I think the events that perhaps attracted the least audience are the ones we need to do the most work on, in all honesty, because they're not necessarily being debated or they're not necessarily being looked at. I think the other thing to bear in mind is that yesterday we heard from National Star College, because they had so much, and I don't mean monetary-wise, so much change in their organisation from the grant funding money that they'd had from the Skills Funding Agency. We heard that they had worked out how to build in sustainability, so they weren't always saying it has to be about grant funding. They recognised that that had been an opportunity to help them to change. And I think that was another crucial message that came out of it. Whilst ever it's special and add on, it's a bit like getting the Christmas decorations out. It kind of happens once a year when you put something on, and then it kind of goes away into a box again until something else happens. And it really can't be like that. It needs to be much more like you've talked about in terms of the Bromley College values. It needs to be all the way through the organisation, and it needs to be part of what you do every day. But I think the other message we've learned here is that we have to find creative ways of doing this. So we have to find creative ways of presenting data, we have to find creative ways of making our research accessible to people, and not just accessible to ourselves. There is that real danger, isn't there? We just talk to ourselves all the time. There's something about reaching out to people we don't, which I thought, Kelly, your stand-up did beautifully. I think Bright Club are really good now at helping people to kind of find ways that engage people. And yes, some people won't get it, but guess what? The people who we want to get to are the ones that we're kind of focusing on, because so many people are excluded from the work that we do around equality and diversity. Okay, so what I'd like to do is some thanks, and then get Carol and Eli to come down while I'm doing the thanks. Obviously, the kind of first thanks are to our audience, who've been absolutely wonderful, and their questions have been really engaging over the last couple of days. And I'd like to thank our speakers, who I've just kind of referred to really. Really like to thank the Skills Funding Agency, which has been part of some work that the Learning and Work Institute has done for them. Thank you also to many of my colleagues at the Learning and Work Institute who've been tweeting and what have you for us, and in particular for letting us have Steve Hartshorn here, who's been on reception and behind the scenes endlessly. We have a team of people who we've kind of brought in, who've made things happen. So people like Sean Harris and Catherine James, who've been really instrumental in it. Ed Melia, who's been running the Twitter feed this morning, which I haven't quite managed except occasionally. Really grateful to Leon for the live stream. Okay, perfect as usual. And thank you very much to My Clear Text. I think two of the most amazing people there are actually people here from CityLit who have been our registered sign language interpreters to give access, in addition to the live captions, to people who are deaf and watching this. And I had some feedback last night from people to say it was really brilliant. You've worked incredibly hard, especially as we didn't give you a great deal of prep, and lots of it's been very live and kind of dealing with the moment. I then need to thank the rest of the team here at CityLit who have really kind of worked hard to pull this off in a short space of time. It was a pop-up. You know, we just kind of had the idea, we came along, we talked to Mark, then we talked to a few other people, and then it began to happen. Now, it came about because of someone who I met last year who organised the Mental Wealth Festival here at CityLit, and that was Tina True. And I met her on a course that she did with us recently called Breaking the Rules, which was a leadership course that Sally and a number of other people were involved with me. And when we were talking, I just said to Tina, I want to do that, but I want to do it around equalities, and could we possibly do it together? And she said yes. Now, unfortunately, Tina's been off sick for a few weeks, but we do send our best wishes for a speedy recovery, and we're really sorry you weren't here, but you were in spirit, and because the team around you clearly can really get this moving. So thank you to Mark Malcolmson for giving so much of his time to us and the space. The tech team, I know, have been amazing. I'm sure at times you have really wanted to say to me no, or get your slides here earlier, or something like that. But the person who has amazed me the most has been Sam, who has, can you come here, Sam, who has been so positive all the way through this. And it doesn't matter what we've said, she has said, this is Sam Bunker, and she's Mark's PA, and she has said, yeah, sure, fine, right, do it. She was here till, I don't know what, about 11 o'clock at night with us on Monday, and then Tuesday, she said, oh, when I got up at 4:30 and saw the kids, and one of them had fallen asleep next to me, and then I came back, and she was still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed last night when she disappeared, and she said, I'm having a lie-in in the morning, I'll be in about 8 o'clock, you know. So I just want to say thank you so much indeed, and we'd just like to show our thanks to you by giving you this little bouquet, and to say it has been amazing. So, Carol and Eli, would you like to take us out? We started yesterday, one of the things we showed you was that parody we did of Thank You for the Data, and one of the workshops that we held yesterday was for people to think about other verses to write and things to do. When we do stuff around equality and diversity, we really want people to challenge us and come back about it. So if you've not watched Thank You for the Data to the tune of ABBA's Thank You for the Music, you really should kind of Google that one and watch it. But we also said we wanted other people to maybe try stuff with other, you know, music, other issues around equalities, whatever they wanted, really. And we had loads of different ideas from people. And then we set up a workshop that was designed to make that happen. And we were in the restaurant last night, and suddenly we got this coming through, you know, that it had been recorded. And so we kind of felt that it would be a great way to go out and for people to remember it. So I'm hoping that they're mic'd up. These two are performers, okay? So you don't have to worry too much that they might be fazed by the bright lights or the recording or anything. Could we have you two?
Oh, right.
I'm going to have a quick listen to this music.
Wow, okay.
Right, so we'll push it on a little bit. It's just before the bridge.
Okay. Yes.
Over to you then.
Okay, all right. Wow, it's already started.
We can have it as a soundscape. It's fine,
soundscape,
isn't it? And then we'll just go straight in, musical theatre style.
What we did, we had normally take a lot more time, but we did the chorus, which is normally where we start from. But we need more time to be able to do all the verses. So we might want to get you to all come down to the front. Might want to get you, can you come down to the front? That's the best way of saying it, isn't it? Rather than saying, can you come down to the front? And whilst they're trying to find the bit, I've just been asked, I said to Carol, can you tell a story? Can you do a story? Okay. So I'm going to do one fairly quick story, and then we'll do that. Okay. This story, I think, will fit into the whole day. It's called Broken Pieces. When I was a 5-year-old, my mum put a very big dish on the table. It's one of those big dishes. It cost her a lot of money. And I was playing with my ball, bouncing it off the wall, which I shouldn't be doing, and it bounced off the wall and hit the dish, and the dish fell on the floor and broke in about 3 pieces. My mum was very generous with me. She picked up those 3 pieces and said, go over to the man over there and give him the pieces. And I thought, okay. So I was shaking, but I went, knocked the door and gave it to him, and he looked at the pieces, oh, thank you, and he took the pieces and he brought them in. When I was about 16, I kept seeing people bringing broken pieces of stuff to this man, and I wondered what that was all about. At 25, I'd come back from university, and I felt stronger, I felt more determined, more confident, and I thought, let me go over there, because I kept seeing hundreds of people giving those things, and I knocked on the door, and I'm shaking, and this man with long white hair and massive glasses said to me, what do you want? And I said, look, I've seen people bring lots of broken things, prams and stuff, and you just take them. What is it that you do with them? And he opened the door, and he said, come in. So he opened this door, and there's this massive house, and along this massive passage, there were shelves from here all the way up. And he started pointing out all these broken objects. There was just hundreds of them. And they're all labelled with a date. There's this broken lens from number 24. Broken pram from number 74. And he did this all the way down this passage. And then he took me into the rooms, and the rooms had the same thing. There were hundreds and hundreds of broken pieces, broken things everywhere, in the toilet, in the kitchen, everywhere. And then he said, now you see. And I scratched my head and said, well, actually, I don't. I don't see. All I see is broken things. And he was shocked. And he looked at me and said, you see broken things? So these things aren't broken. They're memories. And this is not my life, but the people I live with. And with that, I shed a little tear and left, and I never saw that house the same way. Okay, so that's the story. Okay.
Right, so
Has he keyed up?
I think so.
Oh, right,
It's going to be a bit of a jump in. Connect and collect your gifts, will use responsibly. Trust yourself, it's your true identity. All this data will change the world that we see. When we are equal, there's only equality. When we join hands,
There's only equality.
when we join hands,
There's
only equality.
When we join hands, there's only equality.
When we are equal, there's only equality.
There we go.
And
Everybody's
that's where we
done
got
really
to.
shocked. Thank you very much. Should we just read the words? If you just read the words. Yeah.
We'll do it together.
Okay, what we tried to do, oh, it's nice
Is it
background
going to loop
music.
again? Could do.
What we tried to do is try and get a chorus that embodies what we were trying to do, and then afterwards we put 2, maybe 3 verses together.
Yeah, we chose key words that we felt sort of
Absolutely.
pulled the data idea and identity and equality together, and we wrote those down, and then we started to
together,
work
yeah.
from the chorus out.
And just to say that there's this person that's
Yes,
hiding
Sally,
in the
who will
was
not
there
come
as
out.
well, and she said, "I haven't got a voice," but you have got a voice. So I'll just read it to you because it might have just kind of escaped. It's connect and collect. Your gifts will use responsibly. Trust yourself. It's your true identity. All this data will change the world that we see. When we are equal, there's only equality. When we join hands, there's only equality. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant, done.
Thank
That was a
you.
wrap. Thank you all very much indeed. Lunch is served at the end of the cafe outside.